to this video. So today I'm going to film a VR to Shannadee favorite jeans decks. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. There are 10 prompts and I have already prepared 10 decks that fall under this category for me. So decks that give me either comfort or healing support when I need it. So let's dive in. First deck for this prompt is the Seashell Oracle. So actually it's not a tarot deck, but it's an oracle. The first prompt is called, I forgot, a well-worn sweater, a deck that wraps you in quiet wisdom. I have chosen this one, and this is the card I've just pulled today. It says Divinity Resonance Communication, and since I'm filming this video, it may very well resonate. So this is a deck that is pretty new. So actually, even though it says, the prompt is a well-worn sweater, this is not well-worn, this is pretty new. I've been using it since last summer, especially combining it with another oracle, the Sea Witch Tarot, with another tarot, yes. So this is very soft, a very soft deck. It's something you can reach for when you need comfort, but also just like today, for example, I've just pulled a card from this. As you can see, also it has a very quiet, calm energy that wraps around you, almost like it invites you to slow down and just reflect on, the keywords. There are 3 keywords for each card, which can be a lot. But normally I am also to getting to know this deck a little bit better. As you can see, I don't use it just in the summer. I pull just one card like I did today, and so see how then it resonates during the day or at the end of the day. It's something I normally do when I'm getting to know my decks, And there is something, why a deck that wraps you in quiet wisdom? Because there is something about the soft, earthy imagery here. Yes, I know there is a lot of sea, a lot of water, but for me also the tones here are very earthy, and it makes me feel like either, whether it's the earth or the sea, there are also a lot of animals here, and humans as well, It makes me feel like I'm connecting to something deeper, like something, and quiet, a quiet wisdom. So every time I use this deck, I feel like it's very patient. I don't need to rush. There is no pressure. And it's the kind of deck that makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. Even if through my day, maybe things are going to be chaotic, everything will be fine. And I find a lot of comfort just looking at these images because of the tones and the colors. I find it very calming. Yeah. So this is the Seashell Oracle. The next prompt is a familiar walking path, a deck that knows where you are headed before you do. And I am actually taking the word familiar quite literally. And the deck for this prompt is the Dulac Tarot. This is not new. This is mass market, pretty well known, but it's new. Actually, it's fairly recent in my collection, so it's not a deck I've had for a long time. Probably I'm late, when it comes to experiencing this deck. I've always wanted it. I've always admired the backs. They give me, I don't know, emotions, they really, I don't know, they give me some, they convey something. Also, I think what they convey is a familiar sort of energy. This deck reminds me of my childhood. I think it's I think it's because of the illustrations by Dulac, even though maybe I don't remember exactly these images from my childhood, but the feel of it, the storybook feel, is one of those decks that feels just familiar, like a familiar walking path that you have traveled, many times, but also at the same time with every step and every time I use it, there is something new to discover. I love to dive into this storybook feel. When I got it, I immediately, I don't know why, I felt drawn and I felt compelled to ask this deck questions and do readings with it about family and family matter, and I was honestly blown away by the energy and the answers it gave me. It felt like it knew exactly what I needed to hear, or what I was looking for, what I wanted to know. And the answers were clear, and it gave me a sense of direction I wasn't expecting, and a sense of clarity, and also a sense of comfort, because I asked this deck some questions that I was worried, to get maybe some blunt answers. I didn't really know what to expect from this deck, but I wasn't expecting like the clarity and the softness I got from this. And so it's like this deck has a way of reading situations, in particular familiar for me situations and the feelings, within my family, in a way that feels revealing, but at the same time it's also quite soft. I fell in love instantly with this deck and this energy, and I feel I can trust it, and there are so many familiar images also in this deck at the same time. So maybe it can be also a deck to reconnect maybe with my childhood or do that kind of work, but still I haven't done it. And it's one of those decks that I can turn to for that specific questions or that specific matter. It's something I do very often with my decks. Like I have specific decks for specific, type of questions. And so this is the Dulac Tarot. Okay, the next is Warm Socks on a Cold Floor, a deck that grounds you in comfort. And similarly to the previous one, this is one I've got fairly recently, the Margarete Peterson Tarot. It's in German because the English edition was not available when I was looking for it, and I felt like I was called to have it and to use it, and so I found it on Amazon, but it was only in German. The English one was not available, and I waited for some time, and these are the bags. I waited for some time, but then the English one, I couldn't get it, and it was not available again, so finally I just got, the German one, and it's quite a lot of work because I have to translate. I'm translating the whole little white book, and yes, but this feels, and I also did the first reading with this one during a rainy day when it was very cold outside. I mean, it's still cold, these days here, so it felt like putting on warm socks on a cold floor. This deck immediately grounds me and bringing a sense of comfort and stability, that's heartbeat, and also understanding. Because what really sets it apart for me is also the poetry in the guidebook, but also the introduction. I really enjoy reading it because I think it's poetry itself. The words are an extra layer for the experience. This is a meditative deck, so it's really soothing again and grounding. But the cards that don't just offer interpretations, they offer like a kind of depth of emotion, so that every reading really feels special with this one. It's very well known. It's just fairly new for me, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm also using it in February this month a lot. And so both the images on the cards and the imagery, but also the words make me feel seen, like understood and supported. And the whole experience with this deck is just different from any other, I think. And it feels very personal. So this is the Margarete Peterson Tarot. Okay, here for the next prompt, I may be cheating a little bit because in this bag I actually store 2 decks. It's not just one, but I want to talk about just one in particular. So your grandmother recipe box is the 4th prompt, a deck that holds a generational wisdom. As you can see, there are 2 of them because I use them together, because these 2 just work so well together, especially for self-care and comfort. But the reason why I've chosen these 2 the Herbcrafter Tarot and the Dulac Oracle is because they work so well together. They bring comfort, they are so healing, but they also connect me to that generational wisdom. Especially I got this one, and both of my grannies actually are into herbs and plants, and I am also trying to learn myself a little bit, even though I don't really cultivate plants or anything. I'm not very good at it. But I use tarot to connect with that energy, with the natural energy, and learn more about the benefits and the properties of the plants, and also maybe magical uses and meanings. So using the Herbcrafter Tarot paired with the Dulac gems feels like opening up my grandmother's recipe box, filled with wisdom and energy from generations past. And so through the plants I can really feel like I'm connecting not just with the knowledge of nature, but with something deeper again, like I'm reaching out to those who have passed. Actually, just one of my grannies have passed, and that's why on my desk I keep, and I will show you, this is very personal, but I will show you these cards that I'm keeping on my desk. This is the aloe with the card curandera and the rosemary. So my granny, the one who passed last year, was a curandera, and she also had aloe in her garden, and she lived in Argentina because I'm half Argentine, and she had aloe in her garden when I went to visit her last time years ago. And so I remember her talking about this plant, and that's why this feels so deeply familiar, and it connects me with that kind of energy and also that memory. When I found this card in the Dulac gems, since then I'm keeping it on my desk, as well as the curandera from the Herbcrafter. And this other card, always from the Dulac gems, also connects me to another person. Actually, the name of this person is contained in the name of the herb, so I keep these cards with me, and maybe I may add more as I find I already have some ideas. I want to create just a little bit, or sort of an altar maybe, but I don't know exactly. So I just want to keep this outside for some reason, on my desk. And so, yes, there is a certain reverence, in the way these cards speak to me, and every reading feels like an invitation to honor also the wisdom of those who came before me, offering me guidance and also comfort when I need it, in a quiet, again, grounded way. And so this in particular is a very soothing, healing deck, but the combo, I think, is very special with the Dulac Oracle. So these are the Herbcrafter and the Dulac gems. I haven't shown that one, but I really didn't want to, because I may show it again in the future, but I'm just going to show one deck for now, for the prompt. For the next prompt, a window seat on a stormy day, a deck that makes a space for shadow work. So I interpreted this prompt as a deck that not only is providing you comfort, but also leaves room for deeper exploration, maybe of, hidden parts of yourself. And I'm sorry, but this is an out of print deck and it's not new. Maybe someone can recognize it from the backs, this plain black. This is the Tarot of the Crone by Ellen Lorenzi Prince. This is a very special deck. I'm not using, again, the grandmother. This is another card I would put on my altar together with the others I have just shown previously, to connect with that, generational energy, like the wisdom from the past generations. I'm not using it too much anymore, but I had some serious moments with this one, especially in the past. It's still one of my favorites. I mean, I keep it in my collection. I would never let it go, just because I have so many special memories with it, but also because this deck understood me right away when I got it. It has always been one of my favorites to dive into shadow work. If I understand something about shadow work and how it works, is because I got this deck, I think. And this deck provides, you know, the perfect environment to face and reveal things I wouldn't have been to articulate so well on my own. Like in the Peterson Tarot, there is poetry also in this little white book. And the poetry here, even more than the, you know, the full explanation, you know, the poetry really did something for me. And there are cards here that, there are words here that really touched me deeply and revealed a truth, as I was saying, that I wasn't really able to articulate using the same words. The words were just so perfect to reveal what I was feeling in a particular moment. It doesn't shy away from the difficult stuff. This deck invites you also to have compassion. At the same time, this deck felt like a safe space. Yes. And I say safe because in any case, it is shadow work with comfort. I don't know how to say it, but you can emerge with new truths and new insights, but at the same time, it doesn't feel overwhelming. It's challenging, but in the most, you know, nurturing way. And I think this would work very well with the dirt gems as well, just for the colors, you know, and the black backgrounds and everything. So I want to try it actually to pair these two. So this is the Tarot of the Crone, out of print, no more available. I don't see it around often. Maybe people have forgotten about it. Okay, next prompt is that one pair of jeans you never have to think about, a deck that just gets you without trying. And this deck for me is the Tarot of the Huntress. I got it last year. I'm already showing it a lot in a few videos I've done so far, but the reason being that it has been a staple in my collection for the past year, and honestly, I don't think I could ever part with it, also because it is out of print, and it's very difficult now to get it for me because the creator doesn't ship to Europe anymore. Maybe things may change, but I feel like I fear really I won't be able to get another of her decks again. The name is Cara Small, you know. So again, it's the perfect pair of jeans I don't have to think twice about, because again, this deck got me since the first time I read with it. I really love the forest as well as the lunar theme. It's like a deck that speaks to my soul, connecting me with the energy of the wild, the moon, and the hunt. It's empowering and intuitive. And the more I use it, the more I realize just how much it gets me without trying. The creator sends you a PDF with this deck, and the PDF is really amazing. It also explains a lot about the art on the cards. There's something quiet about this deck. At the same time, there is also strength, and it's one that has been there for me last year through the ups and downs. And I know that it's always going to offer me a straightforward answer that resonates with where I'm at. At the same time, it feels comforting in that, you know, certainty. So this is the Tarot of the Huntress. The next prompt is your chipped but perfect coffee mug. A deck that doesn't need you to be fancy to show up. And I have chosen for this one the influence of the angels. Let's see, because I have the box here, so I want to show you. Yeah. Influence of the Angels Tarot by Jody Boginski-Barbesi. This is mass market. Again, linen cardstock is something I love. I love all my linen cardstock decks. It's gilded. So the production is amazing for this deck, but I wouldn't have got it, you know, if it wasn't linen, because I really love this cardstock, while I despise a bit the glossy cardstock. I almost don't have cards with, decks, you know, with a glossy cardstock, because I'm not really fond of it. I should really love a deck to choose, you know, glossy cardstock, so. And I don't need to be fancy with it, because there is something so simple and nurturing about this deck. It doesn't demand anything from me, and it was so very clear from the beginning. as well as loving and simple, and offering like a gentle guidance. And the angel's energy is so clear and kind, with no pressure to be anything other than yourself. So I feel comforted and cared for when I use it. Like the angels are wrapping me in this soft healing blanket, and I don't need nothing more. And this deck doesn't ask for nothing more from me than to be myself. I love this Sun card. So this is the influence of the Angels Tarot. Next we have that book you've read so many times, the pages are falling out. A deck that knows all of your stories and loves you anyway. And this is again another curated art deck. This is the Revival Art. As you can see, a lot of curated art decks, or even collage decks featuring art. So this has been with me for many years. So this is one of my oldest decks. I got it a lot of years ago, I think when it was first released. This feels like the book I've read so many times, but it also feels like a museum, like walking in a museum in silence, where each painting invites me to sit with a feeling, a memory, or a story. I think it's relaxing. It feels like entering a museum maybe during a rainy day and just enjoying being there with like this sort of timeless art. It's also contemplative, like each card also holds like a piece of me that I can work with, reflect on, and also grow from. And so it's a deck that also never judges. So it's very comforting. It tells you things, but it simply holds space for me to connect with my emotions and experiences. It is not overwhelming. It is a deck that allows you to process, you know, at my own pace. So definitely it may feel like a book I've read so many times that the pages are falling out, just because I've read a lot with this deck. And I also created my own guidebook based on the readings I got with this one years ago. Now I don't have that notebook here with me, but maybe one day I will show you. So there is something calming and deeply familiar, I would say, with this one. Yeah, so this is the Revival Art Tarot. Next is the playlist you've had since high school, a deck that knows all of your faces and still vibes with you. So in this bag, which is huge, it's not a tarot bag, but I love it so much, and I think it matches the colors and the vibe of this deck. This is the Tapestry Tarot. This is also one I've had since I basically began reading tarot. It's out of print, but you can still find it maybe on eBay or maybe secondhand. It's vintage. It's from the 90s, and it is a collage deck made in the 90s by an artist named Yvonne G. Jensen, and the collage here is made with fabric primarily, and then the collage is being, you know, photographed, and here it is. So this is again a deck. It's very peculiar. It reads its own way. Each card feels like something that represents me and my life. It is also a deck that is connected to my childhood, and I felt very connected right away to it, because in around the same time when it was created in the 90s, 95 or 94, I remember that at school teachers taught us to create collages made of fabric and using fabric and other materials. And so it reminds me of that experience. And I remember that with my classmates we spent the whole morning, like we went to another school, actually. It was like a school trip, and we went to this, I think it was a laboratory or something, where we had to create collages using materials, you know, different materials. And so it's tied to an experience from my childhood, and that creative, like, free-spirited energy carries through in the cards. So every reading feels like it's drawing from the layers of my past while still remaining deeply relevant to my present. I think the imagery has a timeless quality to it. It's clearly vintage, but it's like a memory that stays with me. So no matter how much I grow or change, and it still feels deeply connected to me. It's been like that all over these years, and I'm very grateful to have it in my collection. So this is the Tapestry Tarot deck. I don't have the box here because I keep it in the bag, but I love this one. The last one instead, you're good to take out order. You don't even have to think about a deck that just works without a fuss. Is the Little Sister Tarot for me. Written and illustrated by Jeannie Thompson. This is quite recent because I got it last year, so it's not something I've had for a long time. Look how beautiful the edges are, and the backs are so pretty. This deck feels soft in the hands as well. Yes, why this is my go-to comforting deck when I need a deck that just works without a fuss. It's because the guidebook is straightforward. It's simple. This is a very simple deck, but I don't say it in a, negative sense. It's soft, it's comforting, and I never feel overwhelmed when using it. It's one of those I don't have to think too much about. It just fits. It gives me summer vibes a lot. Also for the colors, and the blue also is the main color in the deck. This is the little white book. It provides quite short, simple, explanations for the cards, but it's also, I think, it's well written. It's very interesting, and it's very soft. Like, for example, the star. Like, the star illustrates the importance of self-trust and that we are our own guiding stars. It focuses a lot on yourself, Having the ability to confide in ourselves, we become capable of manifesting our dreams into tangible realities. When we arrive at this profound confidence, our spontaneity and creativity like water can flow with ease. Flowers bloom and we are radiant and flourishing. It's such a nice, it's so well written, but it's also written in a way that feels so nice and comforting. So there is nothing overwhelming about this deck, either in the colors. The colors are very soothing. The images are vibrant, but in a very soft way. And so it feels soft also. The cardstock, it's the tactile experience. It's comforting itself. It gives you a comforting message when you need it, in a peaceful way, and it's uncomplicated, but in the best way possible. As I was saying, the colors are amazing. Look at the yellow and the blue. I don't know, I just love this. And sometimes you just need something simple, and without complicated symbolism, or it's not a deck I would use if you want to learn something more, if you want a more esoteric deck. This is not that kind of deck. This is uncomplicated. This is just, but it's a deck that always shows up. I think it's made for that, providing exactly what you need with no drama or extra layers. So it's very straightforward. And I got it last year when I was looking for something, that could provide this kind of energy after a loss I had experienced, And look also how, the backs, the blanket here in the Nine of Swords is the same pattern used for the backs. And I think this makes clear what is the purpose of this deck. I think it's soothing your anxieties, making things seem brighter, look brighter, but also not because they have to look brighter, but because it makes you feel like that maybe not all is lost, and that there is, the light at the end of the tunnel, something like this. So it gives you hope and faith and comfort. So this is the Little Sister Tarot. So again, folks, thank you so much for watching this video and for staying with me while I was exploring the decks that know me intimately and reflect my growth, while still feeling that they are relevant and harmonious as the first time I picked them up. So thank you so much for staying with me and watching this video. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye!